This is Daniel Laird with a special report for GUST News. Today, thousands of students took to the streets to protest against upcoming cuts to university courses. The cuts include modern languages, nursing, sociology and anthropology. As you can see, quite a sizable crowd has gathered and they walked all over campus, making sure their voices were heard. The students of the SMLC got underway just before lunchtime, leading a procession of brightly coloured banners and flags towards University Gardens, where they met up with a delegation from Anthropology and Sociology, as well as the Anti-Cuts Action Network and those responsible for the recent occupation of the Hetherington Research Club. There was no shortage of chanting and noise as the 2,000-strong crowd continued down University Avenue before climbing to the library and then through the main gate on the way to the quadrangle. Many staff members from the affected departments were also out in force to help the students get their point across, despite possible sanctions for associating with the protests. When the assembled crowd reached the quadrangle, there were speeches from lecturers and campaigners, and the chants included demands for the resignation of Professor Anton Muscatelli, the university principal who has been accused of making strategic decisions on the basis of profit, rather than the quality and diversity of teaching and research. A very enthusiastic and loud crowd here today then. To get some more details on what the cuts will mean for students, I went to the Hetherington building, home of the School of Modern Languages and Cultures, to speak to students and staff about the issue.
I think it was a huge success. I think a lot of people were out today. I think there was representatives from all years at the university, and certainly we were the language section, but I thought everyone was making a lot of noise, and
they were really colourful and just showing that we think that what we do is really important and that we care about what we do. We feel passionate about our staff and passionate about what we learn. I didn't see any problems at all.
No, they were great.
No, the police were fine. There wasn't a huge police presence either. There was very few police.
So, if you had one thing that you could say to Anton Muscatelli and the rest of the people in the university court who are in there right now, what would it be?
I would say that it's time to put education first, that the university has been here for hundreds of years and it's an academic institution first and foremost, and that money making and business must come second.
Absolutely, and that the university has to think about not what's good for itself as an institution in terms of the money that it's making. It has to think about what's the best thing for Scotland as a whole, as a nation. What do we need? And we need linguists, and we need nurses, and we need people who study anthropology, and we need a good adult and continuing education department.
Yes, I was very pleased to see so many students, especially many of which were senior honours students, in a sense who are graduating this year, and in a sense who are not going to be affected by this. But I think the context of what is going on is that there's a real concern about the arts and humanities and the progressive genuflection to market forces. Market forces have always been around, but what we're seeing is fairly unprecedented. But the government down in London is really jeopardising a whole generation's future with what they're pushing through. Their decision to only fund properly the STEM subjects as well is going to have huge repercussions on the arts and humanities across the board. Arts and humanities generate a lot of income. They've got an important impact to make, and in addition to that, I think it shows a lack of understanding of how universities should operate. And I think Glasgow has got such a great reputation historically within a very enlightened Scottish system of education that it should really be standing up and shaping the debate.
At the end of the day, without staff there is no education, and without students it's the same thing. So we need to work together so that we can reach a conclusion that's it's good for everyone.
Anton Muscatelli and the rest of the university court are in discussing these things now. If you had one thing to say to them, what would it be?
Don't do it. Don't cut any courses. Specifically when the MSP who was talking today was talking about Glasgow University received a 0.9% rise on funding from the previous year. So it's absolutely not a question of funding, it's a question of restructuring the university, turning it into, as someone else was saying, a money-making machine.
Students were the best possible advertisement for both this place in its best incarnations and for the future of higher education generally. one of the phrases I think to look out for around the place is the notion of the public university, and that idea that the staff and students are in it together is very much part of the question of a public university as opposed to a privatised one. Listen to the reaction there has been from around the UK to the sorts of measures that are being proposed for the University of Glasgow. There is a message out there, you just have to read it.
The Herald newspaper reported on the 17th of February that the University Court has decided that the consultation over cuts would continue despite the protest. Furthermore, the University Court outlined the proposals in an email to all students and staff, which included voluntary retirement and the withdrawal of a large proportion of study areas in departments such as the School of Modern Languages and Cultures. However, with such a large turnout and the determination demonstrated by those who participated in the protests, it seems like the battle to save these departments is far from over. Daniel Laird, GUST News.